Hey everybody, and thank you for doing your daily sign-in into the world of video games. Today we're going to be discussing Capcom leaks for potential game releases on 2021. We're also going to be talking about the sales chart and who came first the last week, given that it was so jam-packed with video games. We're also going to be talking about Microsoft and the always continuous story of Bethesda, whether it's going to be on other platforms or is it going to be Microsoft exclusive. Then we also have a little bit of miscellaneous news here and there, but they're important for you to know if you are into the world of video games. So let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started with the first piece of news that we got for you today is the fact that Capcom reportedly, allegedly, had a few of the games leaked. I'm gonna read a story here from GameSpot by Stephen T. Wright. Capcom hack reportedly reveals Resident Evil Village release date, Grace Ace Attorney plans. So the unfortunate Capcom data breach from early November has resulted in many customers and employees of the company potentially having their personal information dredged up. However, the breach has also potentially revealed quite a bit of new information about the company's upcoming games, including the release date of the highly anticipated Resident Evil Village. And let me tell you, it is highly anticipated for me. I never got into the Resident Evils when I was a young buck, but ever since I've been playing the remakes and I also played 7 and I fell in love with it. And given this is a direct sequel from 7, I'm very much looking forward to it. So apparently, several of the details apparently uncovered by the hack have started making the rounds on the forums like etc. Particularly the release date of Resident Evil Village, which is said to be April 2021. So interesting because we don't have a lot of games announced during that time window just yet. So having Resident Evil just slot in there to begin with is a good sign. It also seems that the recently revealed Switch exclusive Monster Hunter Rise will come to other platforms in October 2021. That is a very big alleged leak, just for the mere fact that if you didn't have a Switch but you are a Monster Hunter fan, you either ran out of luck whether you wanted to get this, or now you can actually just wait, not even have to go for the Switch if you wanted to get this. So they can actually cost a little bit of hype around it. Additionally, a multiplayer Resident Evil is said to be a battle royale of some sort coming in September 2021. That is interesting. That is completely new announcement. There's nothing that we have seen that indicates whether or not we're gonna see something like a multiplayer only Resident Evil. Whether it's gonna a little bit late for the battle royale hype, given that everything, I would say from 2017 to 2018 was very hyped up on the battle royale saga, and it still continues on with the classics Apex, Modern Warfare, and Fortnite for sure. They're still up there when it comes to battle royales. Whether or not it's too late, I guess we'll find out. Again, it's worth mentioning again, this is all allegedly. Nothing has been said, like the company hasn't said anything about them. And honestly, when it comes to data breaches like this, I personally do not like when we hear a lot about it. Just for the mere fact, for the company themselves, it kind of lets the hype die down a little bit, especially since all the hardcore people are gonna find out about the leaks, and the leaks are hard to avoid nowadays. But given that this is only release dates, it will be interesting to see. We don't know anything about the multiplayer Resident Evil, so I am very interested to see what we actually see from it when we get an official trailer, an official release from Capcom, if this is even true. And finally, the data breach alleged that the Great Ace Attorney and Great Ace Attorney 2, which are spin-offs set in the Meiji era Japan, will receive a Western release in July. This is cool. I know a lot of people that are fans of the Ace Attorney series, and the fact that they weren't able to get their hands on this one just because it was a Japan-only release. It's cool to see that they're actually going in and trying the Western release for it. Now, again, this is all allegedly, this is all tinfoil hat kind of stuff, but it is unfortunate if you were a member that was affected by the Capcom data breaches. Having my data with Capcom as well, it's also kind of concerning Obviously, this is not the first data leak, and it will not be the last data breach for sure. So always keep an eye out for on your own accounts just to see if you got affected by it. It's always good to have all the security measures out there to make sure that your own data doesn't get breached. Whether it is changing your password, two-factor authentication, or everything like that. Well, however, if they do manage to leak some of the stuff, and you are very concerned about it might be worth just changing all of the passwords. I know that there's password apps out there that you can actually go in and type all your passwords, and being able to change that on the fly will be a lot easier. But obviously, that's a lot of managing and a lot of things to keep track of. And also you need to essentially trust that particular app itself. I just thought it was worth mentioning, given that some for the most part in previous leaks, they have been true. Like Resident Evil Village was actually leaked before its reveal. There was not They didn't know, they were alleged no knowledge of the title, so that's why when it came up, it kind of took a little bit of the hype. I was already super hyped when I saw the first bit of it, because it's like, okay, yeah, this is the Resident Evil that we saw back in the day. But at the same time, knowing that it was coming, it, it kind of took away from my excitement from it, especially because I didn't get to find out about the reveal during the trailer itself, especially when they fade out the letters for Resident Evil Village and it just shows Resident Evil 8. I think it's just wonderful. That feeling that I got when they showed Resident Evil 7 was marvelous. All right, moving on to the next piece of news. Let's talk about the fact that Assassin's Creed Valhalla delays caught its usual UK's physical chart top spot. This is coming from Eurogamer by Tom Phillips. Let me just change up the trailer right here real quick for you. Call of Duty has failed to top the UK physical games chart in its launch week for the first time in 13 years. That is crazy. The fact that Call of Duty comes out every single year, and every single year when it gets released, it tops the UK charts. It's incredible. Now, it is also incredible that a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla is able to think about and be able to actually beat COD sales is kind of crazy. Now, there's a few things to know. There's always like those little footnotes that you gotta be reading just to make sure that you actually have the information, because this is not necessarily accurate to say the Valhalla is more popular than Call of Duty. It's just a mere fact. First of all, Valhalla came out 3 days before Call of Duty. Valhalla came out with November 12th. Call of Duty came out Valhalla came out November 10th, and Call of Duty came out November 13th. So technically, they had 3 more days of sales in there. And also, according to Eurogamer right here, it says, meanwhile, Call of Duty's box sales have been declining consistently year over year. Over the weekend, Activision released a statement boasting on the highest first-day digital sales worldwide in franchise history, highlighting the growing number of people who choose to download Call of Duty Cold War instead. So essentially, these numbers do not account for digital copies or digital sales. So now these charts are becoming more and more obsolete as people are making the transition from physical only copies to actually going and buying things online, as people's data cap become more and advanced. Essentially, I personally like the facility to have the game available in there, but I also like to feel my physical copies and have them being displayed. At the moment, just because of space, I only have my figures, and I think that actually displays a bit more. But I wish I had also the way to show you all the PlayStation and Xbox games that I have accumulated over the years, because it's quite a collection. In any case, some other titles that made their way in here, which I think is worth mentioning, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War number 2, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales number 3. So that's another one right there, which is Valhalla and Call of Duty are cross-platform, including cross-generation, meaning PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, Xbox One X, but Marvel Spider-Man is just PlayStation. I still PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, but at the same time, seeing the Miles Morales being number 3, good to see. FIFA 21, always the FIFA is very good, very big in the UK, that is for sure. I think it's more over there than it is in North America, but that's just my own speculation. I actually don't know. But worth noting here is that there's actually well, three Nintendo titles and a fourth non-Nintendo exclusive, but on the Nintendo Switch. Because we got number 5, Animal Crossing New Horizons, number 7, Super Mario 3D All Stars, number 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and number 9, Minecraft. Minecraft's still on those charts, which is crazy. And number 10, we got Watch Dogs Legion. So the two Ubisoft big title games coming out this holiday season are both in the UK charts, first and 10th. I'm surprised that Watch Dogs Legions has been able to hold so far. Mainly for the fact that there's so many games already came out, and that I thought that they will drop out a bit soon, especially after the mixed reviews that I kind of gotten. I just finished the game last week and I platinumed it, so it's something that you can look forward to on a chat and games postmortem that you can actually hear it on your podcast services or on YouTube for sure. Also, I don't know if the setting of London in Watch Dogs Legions helped this a bit, given that this is the UK charts. The game takes place in London. People want to see what London looks like in the video game. I think that might have helped that a bit. Moving on to so this one is an interesting piece of news that I picked here. So this one is mostly about basically gaming YouTubers, which created one channel that was going to be a collaboration between Markiplier and where is the other, Ethan, Crank Gameplay, Nestor. So they made a collaboration. They said, we're going to make a YouTube channel. We're going to call it Unus Annus, and it's going to be only live for 1 year. And the reason that I bring this up is because gaming has become YouTube has become so ingrained in gaming now. We look at YouTube for guides, for streaming, for funny videos, but now gaming is way more than just sitting down with your console, your computer, and playing games. You're watching other people play. You're watching other people's guides. It's much more broad and more a community now. So I find this fascinating when we also talk about YouTube. Specifically, the fact that this is the first time that I see two big YouTubers coming together and making a timely content for a gaming channel. This one, for sure, they deleted everything. They made a lot of content, almost posting every single day for a year, and then deleting it from existence. This is obviously just a video of Markiplier explaining why he decided to do this, and all the intricacies about it is mostly you don't get to appreciate something until it ends. That's the main appeal about it, and I gotta say I agree with him. Only when something ends is that you kind of look back and see what it did. It's all lifetime and whether it was good or not. So good for them. This is something, obviously it doesn't affect them personally, just because they still have their own personal YouTube channels. It's just their collaboration YouTube channel that they made. Although it amounted close to 5 million subscriptions, which is kind of insane. Now, is this something that we're going to be seeing a lot more from big YouTubers? Or is this something that, for example, somebody's just going to try out to do it for at least 2 years? Because even when people retire from YouTube, they leave their channel open. Like they leave it open so other people can enjoy past content, and they can mount a few more views in there. So I just found it fascinating. I wonder if that's something that we're going to be seeing more often than not. But moving back into the actual gaming realm, let's talk about Microsoft Bethesda exclusivity again, since it keeps being brought up over and over. This comes from PC Gamer. As essentially it says, by Microsoft will not make Bethesda games exclusive to Xbox yet, but wants to offer the best version of them. So I'm going to just give me 1 second because it needs to refresh. It refreshed now. So this is coming from PC Gamer, like I mentioned, by Melindy Hetfeld. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So speaking at the Jefferies Interactive Entertainment Conference, Xbox Chief Financial Officer Tim Stewart talked about the company's plan of growing their customer base, especially following its large acquisition of Bethesda. A transcription of the whole talk is available at Seeking Alpha, which is a financial website, for investing website where you can find all the financial reports. When asked whether the strategy going forward will be to make Bethesda games Xbox and PC exclusive, or whether Microsoft will still support cross-platform play, Stewart said, Microsoft doesn't have intentions of pulling all the quote of just pulling all the Bethesda content out of Sony or Nintendo or otherwise. Quote again, we highly encourage cross-platform play simply from this landscape of if it's good for the game ecosystem, it's good for us. Classic rising tide lift of boats, Stuart said. Instead, Microsoft plans is to offer the best possible experience with a Bethesda game on its own platform. This is interesting. Again, there's always this talk and speculation whether or not we're going to be seeing games like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, all the Bethesda and big heavy titles on cross generation, because that's what we've been used to for the longest time. Obviously, it's a big commitment by Microsoft to spend $7.6 billion on this. And Phil Spencer already mentioned that they do not need to have these games on other platforms for them to recoup their money and make a return in investment. So that leaves us, again, this is another of those big questions, whether or not we are actually going to be seeing those games in there. Now, what does that even mean to offer the best version of them on the Xbox Series X? We have, or the Microsoft ecosystem, which could involve Game Pass for sure. Now, if you think about it, when I came and reminisced a little bit about it, Microsoft with Sony, when they have exclusivity or time exclusive deals with other companies, they have done that with Call of Duty, for example. They offer essentially time exclusive content or DLC for a period of time, and that's why you are encouraged to get that game on the other platforms, meaning you only play the best quote unquote version of it on one platform because it offers more things. The same thing might happen when obviously Marvel's Avengers that came out with Square Enix. It's a little bit of a different topic, given that there was a news story last week that there's a speculation that they lost 94% of their user base, which is huge. But the mere fact that they also had a deal with Sony to only release Spider-Man on the PlayStation versions, it's quite baffling right there. It just shows you that that's their way of pushing for the best option. Now, is that the same thing that Microsoft is going to do? Not sure. I actually have no idea. Honestly, I cannot see any other way, because the other way that I was thinking is like, okay, maybe they offer the 4K version on the Microsoft ecosystem and leave the PlayStation version, the 1080 or some other performance settings that you can only set on the Xbox side. But at the same time, you have a Game Pass, right? So Game Pass is available on PC and other areas. I don't know if you can offer that just those settings or cut those settings out of other platforms just for that. If you tell me what is the like to play the best version, it's either, to me, it's content related, but given their push for performance and basically accessibility, I wonder if that's how they're gonna cut it there. Not sure. It's just something to speculate about, given that there's so many big calls about whether or not these games are gonna be cross-platform. All right, now just this little bits of news that we need to talk about right here at the end. Essentially, your PS5 you may be playing the PS4 version of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, even if you have a PS5. So apparently, as reported by Eurogamer, I'm reading this story from Kotaku by Ethan Gatch. As reported by Eurogamer over the weekend, PS5 players with the cross-gen bundle or the Ultimate Edition of Call of Duty are struggling to access the PS5 version of the game. These versions appear to be defaulting to installing the PS4 version even on PS5. If you have been playing the game on your next-gen console and not noticing improved graphics and the new haptic feedback in the DualSense triggers, it might be because you're actually playing the next-gen console. That's a big yikers right there. You gotta make it obvious. It's like, if you have the PS5 version, why would you be playing the previous generation one, right? If you want to experience the PlayStation 5 at its highest, especially if you got it at launch, you're going to be an early adopter of the console. So keep an eye out. If you've got either of those editions, remember to check, because you want to be playing the best version on your PS5. And speaking of PS5, the DualSense controller, the PS5 DualSense, is such a good controller that people have been enjoying the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers. You can now use that on Steam, sort of, a little bit. Obviously, the games are not made for the haptic feedback or the adaptive triggers or any of the fancy features that you get, but you can at least use that PS5 controller on your Steam library. This comes from GameSpot by Stephen Wright. The PS5 Currently, the DualSense can only be used both wired and wirelessly on PC. For the former, you'll need a USB-C to a USB-A cable to do so, unless you have a USB-C port. If you don't know what any of this means, I recommend you just look at the description below. It shows you all, the source of the story, and they have a link to all those USB, USB-C, USB-A, USB-C, all that tech talk that you want to find out. Another piece of content to celebrate here, because I've been playing these two games nonstop. I played Dragon Ball Z Kakarot when it came out back in January, and I had a blast with it. That's my way of experiencing Dragon Ball. If you haven't seen this, I actually have a lot of Dragon Ball figures. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. The fact that they're releasing their second piece of DLC, and this is the revival of Frieza, and it comes with... So when they released the first DLC, it had a weird card game associated with it. Now it has even a horde mode. Essentially, you have Frieza's army that you can fight against, and then you can use all your characters to play in a horde-like mode. I find it interesting that they are experimenting with different gameplay ideas on an already established fighting game. Kudos to them, and the fact that I can play Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, Vegeta, and playing with Golden Frieza, although not my favorite character by any stretch of the imagination. It's kind of cool, especially with this high-end graphics that we can see here. And last but not least, the game that everybody acclaims to be dead, it actually just crossed over 10 million copies, it's Fall Guys. So Fall Guys has sold 10 million copies on PC. This comes from PC Gamer by Malindi Hetfield. While concurrent player numbers may not have been dropping as expected after a bombastic launch month, Fall Guys is doing a very well on the whole, according to a Q3 2020 sales figure supplied through Unity's Q3 financial results. Under the point biggest Q3 gaming blockbuster powered by Unity, the statement reveals that Fall Guys has shifted 10 million copies since its release on Steam alone, 3 million up from the figure announced by publisher Devolver Digital 3 weeks after. That is crazy. So this game, 3 weeks into being released, 3 million people. That is insane. And then now seeing how obviously popularity had died down, Among Us took over after Fall Guys, and so will another game take over Among Us. Some other game will take over, whatever game that was. Unless you're Fortnite, for some reason you live forever, or League of Legends. But the fact that this game, which had a tremendous success when it came out, and I had lots of fun with it, has just crossed 10 million copies. Kudos to them. Kudos to them for sure. Alright, but I think that's everything that I got for you this week. Thank you so much everybody for doing your daily signing into the world of video games. Remember, you can catch us live every single day at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or you can catch the bot version of this recording on YouTube the following day, or on podcast services. On the audio version will be available for you, so keep an eye out for that. Remember, there's other content. We are actually about to record the next Chat and Games, which is our weekly gaming podcast. Me and the sexy boys in the business are just going to be talking about the next Age of Calamity, or basically our predictions of it. There's so many games coming out, but we are super excited about Age of Calamity. We are both big Breath of the Wild fans, so we have a few points of discussions to talk there. So if you're interested in that, check out Chat and Games in any podcast services, or just check out the YouTube. The video will be there for sure. Other than that, remember, we stream almost every single weekday, and we're figuring plans out for the weekend. So check out twitch.tv/SoFunagames for anything that you may want to miss, or the YouTube for every content that we pull out. That's enough plugins right there. Thanks so much everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for your daily sign-in. But right now, I leave you with your daily sign-off.